Welcome to the R.E.A.L podcast, where hosts Shane Kilby and Duane Murphy dive deep into the world of real estate agent life. From overcoming hurdles to celebrating success, join us as we explore the journeys of industry veterans and rookies alike. Get ready for bi-weekly episodes packed with advice, feedback, and mentorship from the best in the business.
Wow, welcome to Real Estate Agent Life. I'm here today with my co-host, Shane Kilby from the great state of Alabama. And I'm Duane Murphy from the land of cheese and cows. And we're super excited to jump into this podcast today. I can't freaking wait. I didn't know Ford very long. I had the pleasure of meeting him at an amazing John Cheplack event, KFR, at the ranch. And I tell you what, Shane, without me ruining it all, who do we have today?
So today, Duane, we have Ford Duncan. So I'll introduce Ford to you guys. I would say Ford is definitely on pace to be top 30 under 30. And so he would absolutely crush his top 40 under 40. So before we get into that, though, I want to introduce Ford Duncan to the show. So he's a digital creator, entrepreneur, real estate operator based in Conway, South Carolina. Ford is the owner and operation manager of the Duncan Group Properties, where he's been helping clients and building a community since 2016. His background is in higher education thus far. He's getting a higher education real estate on a daily basis, hands-on. He spent some time at Coastal Carolina University, plus he does have a degree with the University of Arizona from the global campus. He is the class of 2019. He also has some time there at R.E.A.L Georgetown Technical College. Ford's a Conway native, born and raised in South Carolina, all the way to the roots. Still proudly calls it home to today. So today, Ford, tell us a little bit about your backstory. So first of all, how old are you?
I am 31, almost 32.
31. So I gave you a little bit of credit, that 30 under 30. If you've seen Ford, or if you haven't seen Ford before, he's got that little baby face, so it rolls with him perfectly. But now he is a beast of a real estate agent. He's a beast of a real estate leader. The short time that I've gotten to know Ford, he is absolutely making waves and winning big hurdles in his market. Ford, give us a little backstory. How did you get into real estate?
So starts back when I was a kid, entrepreneur at heart, and at 12 years old, when I was, probably about 12 years old, I got 30 chickens. I lived in downtown Conway, and I got 30 chickens, and I went around selling eggs to all the little old ladies that like to bake cakes. So that was where the entrepreneurial spirit really started. When I went into career mode, I actually went into law enforcement first. I did 4 years with that, and through that time, I was also going to school. Got my associate's degree, and then got my bachelor's degree in business. And my passions really started to shift in that business vein. In 2016, I got licensed as an agent. My mom had gotten licensed in 2012. It was kind of like a natural thing that, she was doing it. She was doing pretty well at it. So I was going to go and give it a try. So got into it and immediately fell in love with not just necessarily the real estate space and selling houses, but actually building a business. In late 2016, we formed a team, and it was just my mom, me, we had an administrative assistant, and one agent. And from there, I just saw the potential of the impact that we could make, not only on serving more clients at a high level, but also teaching agents how we did what we did. So we went on to be the top team in our firm for two years after that, 2017, 2018. And then in 2019, I said, hey, the way our business is going and the direction I want to take it, it makes more sense for us to open our own firm. And Mom was not super excited about that idea to begin with. As a broker owner now, as you guys know, there is a lot of work and headache that goes into building a brokerage. More than I expected. I expected there to be challenges, but it was a lot more than I expected. But we did it. We got into it. And so in 2019, we formed Duncan Group Properties. At that time, I think we had one administrative assistant, 4 agents, and the 2 of us. Today, 2025, we have 25 agents. We have 2 staff members, the 2 of us, and we've got several more that are in onboarding. So a lot has happened in the last 5 years. We went from selling 20 million a year to we've sold 30 million year to date this year. So the growth happened really fast, and it's just been something that has stemmed from that passion that I found, not necessarily just in selling houses. I do enjoy working with clients, but my real passion and what really fueled me to take us to where we're at today was that entrepreneurial spirit and really enjoying building business.
So it looks like, if my math's right, and sometimes that is incorrect, it works in my favor more times than less. You got your license around age 23. Is that right?
That's correct. Yep.
Good. My math has not failed me. Most agents struggle with math. I was fairly decent in math from the entrepreneurial mindset.
He has his shoes off counting tolls.
I do have enough. You went through them twice to get to 23. So it's interesting. Back up just a second. So something that's interesting, we've never had one of these calls and conversations where the individual didn't have some type of childhood entrepreneurial dreams, whether it's selling candy bars or selling candy or selling eggs, right? So let me ask you this. When you've had some higher education time there, what were you planning to pursue? I know outside law enforcement, there had to be something else there. What was that?
So my associate's degree was in criminal justice. That was when I was 18 years old. That was what I wanted to do. I wanted to be in public safety. I was an EMT. I worked for public safety for Coastal Carolina, and then went on into animal control and then full-on law enforcement. And that was the direction that I thought I wanted to go. But as it turns out, that entrepreneurial pull is pretty strong. And in 2017, so that would be the year after I got my real estate license, that's when I went back to school to get my bachelor's degree in business administration. And it was because within a very short period of time, I had that firelight for business growth that told me, hey, I don't need this degree. There's no requirement to have a 4-year degree to be a real estate agent. But I said, I want this degree because I know where I want to take this business. And some of the principles that I'm going to learn, I'm going to be able to apply in my business, and it's going to help me fuel that growth. So that's what got me to go back to school, get that business administration degree. Does it make me more qualified necessarily? No, but it's absolutely something that it gave me things I still use today, principles that I use today. I think, kind of just side note there, a lot of kids go to school and they have no idea what they want to do. And they just go and they get a degree. There's no fire, there's no passion, there's no excitement about what they're going to school for. And then they get out of school, they have a degree, but how much of that do they actually remember? Because they're not looking to apply it while they're in school. So I went back to school a little later than most, and I think that actually helped me retain a little bit more from that 4-year degree.
That's interesting. So I look at Ford and I go, I see a state trooper. He looks like a state trooper. He looks like the guy that he gets out, puts his hat on, walks up there. Son, you know why I stopped you? I wouldn't have any idea of why if that's what it said at all. I would have never been in those situations.
I was going to say, you seem to speak from experience.
And you're one to talk. How would you know that that's the verbiage that comes out of their mouth? So let me ask you this. So great backstory. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. At first, when you started down the path of chickens, I was confused.
Yeah.
And then, then my next thought off that after it's done, that's an awesome story, man. Is like, just think if you were that child 6 months ago selling eggs. Yeah, you had a clean house. You'd been the first 10-year-old driving around the neighborhood with a Mercedes.
Yeah, I think I was selling for $1 or $2 a dozen. Nice organic farm fresh eggs. You can sell those for $12 a few months ago.
Right.
$20.
I love it.
Looking back now, we have this conversation. I know Duane has this conversation with agents and potential agents all the time. It's like, looking back historically, there's good days, bad days, good weeks, bad weeks. But at the end of the day, this career path creates limitless freedom. Yes, you can. The thing about it is, if business gets in a slump, you can work 80 hours a week and equal what you had before at 40 hours a week, right? So you get that time back, and you don't have a limitation on how many hours you can work each week. You don't have a limitation on your income. So a lot of the dynamics change in this, being in this career path. It's limitless. And I look back all the time, and I got my license at 31. And the only regrets that I have to this day in the business is not doing it sooner. So I tip my hat to you for actually doing that sooner, because here, like, we have to, I think the age, I know the age here, I'm an instructor, I got to know the age, is 19, right? So it's 19 for an agent to get licensed here in the state of Alabama. So you're almost knocking it right at the first day that you could get licensed. So you've had some good experience on your belt. You've been a top producer. You're still a top producer. You're a great leader. You're following the right people, because I've been in the same circles, in the same rooms with you. And what's pretty amazing is those rooms are typically but typically for the folks who have been down the roads, look for the easy buttons, bought the easy buttons, done all these things, bought all these gadgets, and ended up coming out empty-handed. Right. So after spending all this money and burning all these late nights at both ends, they've come to those same rooms. They're smaller rooms. The price tags are much bigger of an investment. Let's put it that way. Right. To see you in those rooms, in those circles, dude, like it's the levels of this business and this industry that you're going to crush are absolutely amazing. Thus far, and you've shared some of these milestones, what do you feel like your biggest success in business has been so far?
To be honest, I don't look often. This isn't necessarily directly business, but truthfully, I think my biggest success in business has been the ability to reclaim my health and fitness. That has been a journey I've been very committed to for the last 2 years. The business has grown, and agents have become more successful. I've become more successful while also regaining my health and fitness. And so, yeah, our production is up. Our January numbers were 250% up over 2024 in a market that was 6% down.
Repeat that number again.
Our January, which is typically one of our slowest months, was up 250% in a over 2024 in a market that was 6% down over 2024.
Ooh.
Yeah, huge success, huge numbers. I don't like celebrating those too much, because I'm just what's next? What can I keep doing more of? But the biggest success was actually taking a look in the mirror one day and saying, you're busy and you're not healthy, and reclaiming some of that time that I was staying busy so that I could regain that physical ability to keep grinding and keep pushing hard. I actually have a social media post going up later today. You cannot convince me that your personal health and fitness doesn't have a direct tie to the level of success that you can achieve in business. If you are low energy, out of shape, good luck being able to continue to grow, because eventually you're going to hit a point where you don't have the ability to get out of bed in the morning to do what's required.
I want to say kudos to you for recognizing that and I don't want to keep going back to age, right? Because age, it's just a number, right? But to realize it already.
Says the guy that's 60.
Yeah. To realize it already, that how much health plays a role in that, right? The more healthy you are and right now, not only physically fit, right, but mentally fit, because the two go hand in hand. And we've had so many guests on our podcast, right, that have changed their fitness journey, right? And, and some with giving up alcohol, and some with just, with working out more and getting more in shape. And every one of them, their businesses did that. There's not a single one where they spent more time on their health and their fitness and their mental fitness and had their businesses drop. Not a single one, right? And And the thing is like in our industry, like we have the luxury of, okay, hey, if we want to go knock out and go to the gym or go on a walk or go do a little bit of physical activity, we typically, right now we're all busy, but we typically do have that ability a lot more than somebody working a 9 to 5 or whatever it may be. Like if there's anyone in any industry that has no excuse to not be in shape, right, and not be able to physically, mentally perform at your highest, it really is our industry. But yet, when you look at our industry, it's probably completely the opposite, right? So that's awesome. I think you're also afflicted with that, being an entrepreneur, being a business owner, with the not reflecting on your success and seeing, right? I just finished the book The Gap and the Gain, and it's probably the second or third time I've read it now. 'Cause it takes a couple times for it to sink in, and that one talks about reflecting on, again, looking at where you were compared to where you are, and not where you want to be and where you are, right? And going, okay, like don't be afraid to look back and go, wow, right? I've came a ways, not where I want to be,
Yeah.
not happy,
Right.
right? But don't be afraid of looking back and going, whoa, like I narrowed a lot of that gap, right?
Well, you got when you're
Gain.
talking about your health and fitness, and staying in better health and better shape. Like, okay, so nobody in this business wants to be average, right? And even if that's just comparing themselves to themselves, right? So everyone in this business wants to have a successful career. They want it to be sustainable. I get it. Some people aren't all worked up the scale, but even if you want to sustain that level of success, you can't do it with poor health choices. You can't. So you nailed it. And so for me personally, we've always been exercise household. That's how we met. We've always been that focused. A few years back, we kind of got in the 75 hard and the live hard mentality. Still do that from time to time every year. But even to this day, you can bet 6 days a week we're going to get 2 workouts. Nah, we're not 2 extreme workouts. Like we have three or 4 days a week extreme cardio, 3 or 4 days a week extreme weights. Every day is a 45-minute walk. Right? It's just like we're OCD with that. Like not 42. It's got to be 45 minutes because it was just wired into us with 75 hard to spend 45 minutes outdoors. But it's also an opportunity. So we take the dogs for a walk, right? That 45 minutes has done so much for my clarity on a daily basis, because it may be at 4 a.m. when I get that walk. It has been as late as 11 or 12 o'clock at night, but I still get it every time. Like, it's funny because, Duane and I referred to it as we kind of, called it, coined it walks of wisdom walks, right? So when we met in Covington for the same event that we had conversation with you at a Cheplack event, like every night, like we'd meet back at the hotel, and we've been hanging out on that couch right there on front row, Suicide Row, right there at the front, right there at John's arm length, right? Just waiting to get thrown to the wolves. After an exhausting, energy-filled day, we go get that 45-minute walk, 50-minute walk. So your health's there, your clarity's there, and you can't lose. You cannot lose. So I know people go, well, I'm not driven. I'm not trying to scale and conquer the world. You don't have to be. If you want to maintain where you're at, you got to keep that health in check.
Well, forward with. Sorry, I'm gonna jump on that. I know where Shane was going. So we just talked a little bit about your health and the journey and the success that you've had with that. That's awesome. Keep that going. And so let's flip that coin, right? So there's always another side to the coin. So failure. What?
A lot of those.
Yeah. Explain. What would you say are some big ones that you've taken, that you've learned, that you survived?
Some of the worst failures that I can account for stem from a poor mindset. So number one, attitude. There was a time where I was young and cocky and arrogant, and I allowed that to be me. It's not me, but I allowed that to be who I was, and I believe that alienated people. I believe that prohibited me from being able to connect with more agents, recruit more good people to us. We've always had a pretty good retention rate, but there are definitely those that we've lost that probably just came from my attitude not being what it should be, my mindset not being what it should be. Another big failure we've made was not recruiting. Just being too focused on per agent productivity Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Per agent productivity is a big part of what we do. It's a commitment we make to our agents. We want to help them grow. And so per agent productivity is something we have to monitor. That said, there's some that you pour so much time and energy into where, you're trying to help them grow and they don't want to. They're just not in a place in their own mindset to be growing. And when you focus your time pushing on them one thing, you're pushing them, which isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes it is. But you're also not spending that energy in looking for other people you can impact. And if you're only trying to impact the people who are in your world and you're not looking outside of your world at who can I bring in that I can impact, you're actually dampening what your effect can be. So that was a big mistake that we've been working on correcting in the last 6 to 8 months, and we're seeing good people that are being attracted to our environment. But that was a huge mistake for us. It kept us at the same number of agents roughly. We hovered between 12 and 20 agents for years. And we love our people and they know that this is a fantastic environment to be in. That's why our retention is so high. But we also live with an abundance mindset. So they know by us growing, it doesn't take anything from them. So, why were we so hesitant or so unfocused on creating broader impact and bringing more people in? So two of the biggest failures that I can absolutely account for in our business stemmed from attitude, mindset, and then also focusing more on per agent productivity than just broadening our impact in the community.
Yeah, John Maxwell refers to that, and I know that both of you guys are probably familiar with that. John Maxwell refers to that as the law of the lid.
Mm-hmm.
We set that limited belief. We set that lid sometimes too low, and we've all three been in the same rooms and had the conversation by other successful individuals. And a lot of times we know that our agents have a lifestyle belief, and a lot of times they have that lifestyle belief lid. We know you just know the potential when you're sitting with a new agent or someone that's, pursuing a license in real estate, or someone's been in the real estate business for 5 years and they haven't hit the potential that they can. Most of the time it's because they're stuck in that lifestyle lid. They're stuck underneath that lifestyle lid of limited belief of what they've been used to producing as far as results to this point in time. And only us individually can raise that lid. So I think a lot of times, Ford, we do the same thing. It's like we have limited belief. Like, yeah, we'd like to scale, or we'd like to grow, we'd like to do this, we'd like to get to this point. But do we really believe that? Have we really raised that lid to that next level so that we can rise up to that? We've done the same thing. Like, that was one of our big pillars that hadn't been built out because, when we're in a smaller market and we shared the vision, the agent attraction was there, and we added agents and we added inventory. And we had massive success, and then we had strong retention. We didn't have much loss. And then, we wore that as a badge of honor.
Mm-hmm.
We wore it as a badge of honor.
We got tricked. I think we got tricked a little bit because in 2020, I don't know if anybody remembers what happened in 2020, right? The zombie apocalypse. Oh, by the way, right? All of a sudden, everybody, right, started running towards, I want to be a real estate agent, right? And then 2021, it grew even bigger, right? And then 2022, it was still growing, even though the market was starting to turn, right? And with interest rates, but for 3 years, anybody in our position, for the most part, right, it was like, my gosh, all you had to do was unlock your door, and you probably were attracting agents or somebody who wanted to be a real estate agent. And I think it led us into I know it led me, right, into a false sense of like, well, shoot, right, I don't have to really hammer down on recruiting because I have a never-ending flow. Like, I can't hardly keep up with the ones I got.
It's the same thing from an agent perspective. I say that all the time. Like, I tell my agents they need to prospect. If I'm not prospecting or recruiting, then how can I expect them to do it? The agents that came up in that 2020, 21, 22 market, the buyers were coming to them.
Yes.
And that's where most of our agents came out of, was that, 2020 to 2023 time frame, they didn't know they had to prospect. Nobody even taught them how to prospect.
They
It
were
was just like,
prospecting. Just ask them.
answer your phone. Just answer your phone, and they're calling saying, "Hey, we're standing in front of 123 Main Street. Can you come show it to us?" And hey, we're going to offer $50,000 over asking. So it gave this unrealistic expectation to all of us about what was going to be required. Now move into a 2025 market, and what's required today is threefold more than what was required in 2024, and so on and so forth. So it's about kind of realigning those expectations of what it's going to take for all of us to thrive in these different markets.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a skill set business. We're back to the days of skill set, growth and development, sharpening the sword. And it's conversations like this. And for me, it's being in those spaces with hard-nosed, rational thought leaders like the three of us, but even at another level, like the John Cheplaks of the world, because in my mind, I saw the shift coming, like Duane and I and other groups and stuff. Like, I saw the shift coming, delivered this message to my people. In my mind, I'm doing what a leader should do, prepare his people for the storm. What I didn't realize that they didn't know what the storm was.
Yeah.
They didn't know what that meant. And so I failed, and I take ownership of that today in a very humbling way, that I failed them from the aspect of, like, I need to explain to you and clarify exactly what this shift's going to look like so that you can better prepare. Because in all honesty, some of those agents should have shifted careers at that point in time, would have been a better move for them and their family, right? In my mind, I'm thinking I'm getting them educated and knowledgeable ahead of the storm so that they can prepare for the storm. And some of that preparation, I know the three of us would agree, would have been for them moving out of this industry, like they have, right? They suffered financial woes because of it. Looking back at that, I could have done more. I could have had deeper conversation, but everyone was so busy. It was hard to get the attention of everybody. So, Ford, let me ask you this, because I know Duane's going to chop me off at the knees if I don't. We've all got that great influence. We all continue to grow and have greater influences in our lives as professionals and in our personal life. What would you say the greatest influence has ever been in your life? It could be a book, could be an entertainer, an athlete, could be a public speaker. Like, at this point in your life, who would you look back and say, this has been my greatest influence in my personal life and business?
Yeah, I'd love to dive into that. And I want to first go back to something that you mentioned about a lifestyle lid. And we all have experienced a lifestyle lid. And it's something that I'm trying to instill in our agents as well, because this is a series of events that became the greatest influence. And then I'll talk about a couple of individuals who have influenced me as well. But going to conferences and masterminds, traveling for work, is the greatest influence that my life or business could have had, because it removed that lifestyle lid. When you go into these rooms, some of them massive event halls, some of them small ranch homes in Louisiana, like we just left.
Large ranch home, small room. That's what he meant.
Yeah. But when you go into those rooms, you are surrounded by people who have a life and a business that is more elevated than yours. And you begin to realize it's not because they're anything super special. It truly isn't. They simply have done the work required to get them there. And it wasn't terribly complex, hard work. It was simple steps that were done consistently day after day after day after day. And now they have this lifestyle that is very appealing. And so you start to learn from these people what they did. And you go year after year. I tell my agents all the time that Michelle, my mom, business partner, Michelle and I have probably spent hundreds of thousands of dollars over our careers in coaching and traveling to different events. And learning from the people that are there and seeing the levels of success that are completely attainable. And so those series of events over the last 9 or 10 years have been the greatest influence in my ability to grow my life and my business simply because two things happened. One, yeah, I learned lots of things, but two, it renewed that lifestyle. So outside of that series of events, one of the most influential groups of people that I've been around has been in the last year. And it started with Preston Guyton. He is the owner of Easy Home Search, a couple different businesses, and he's in my local market. And I've known of him for many years. He had messaged me a few times on Facebook going back many years, talking about CRM and stuff like that. Didn't really know him well, knew of him, but I followed him a lot. Saw he was doing great things and building great things. And he came from a mindset of abundance. And he just started kind of posting stuff that really resonated with me. And then I start seeing this name, John Cheplack. I was like, who's this guy? And last June, I went to Dallas. There was a business leader mastermind in Dallas. And that was my first time in the room full of the John Cheplacks and the Dustin Runyons and the Matt Smiths and seeing those people and what they're accomplishing through that mindset of abundance and just a commitment to doing the damn work. It blew my mind. I was like, I've been in a lot of rooms. I told you, spent hundreds of thousands of dollars going to conferences. I'd never been in a room with more no nonsense, just do the work, do it every day, don't complain, quit whining, do what you know you need to do, people. And, from there, I went to another event in Nashville, Tennessee in October. It was Conversion Con. Some of those same names were on the stage. And then just got back from the KFR Mastermind in Louisiana where we got to meet face to face. And so, being exposed to that group of people has really elevated my commitment to the direction that we're going and what it's going to take to get there. Before I could even get in those rooms, I did have to go to those many years of different conferences and really truly lower level stuff. But that got me to a point where I'd even listen or even see the John Cheplacks of the world. So, that created so much influence in just who I was becoming and the ability to really buckle down and see a market like we're in right now, not as a scary thing, but as a challenge that I am just pumped to overcome.
Yeah.
Well, it's early in this pursuit in the brokerage side of things. I probably made the worst decision I could have ever made, and I backed off of being obsessed, right? Because I kept that same thought process. I'm like, I'm too much. I'm pushing too hard. My expectations of winning is becoming toxic, and that I should not have ever taken my foot off the gas. I can't complain. Like we've hundreds of millions of dollars in production, thousands of units closed. Our databases are hundreds of thousands of leads and buyers and sellers and agents. So I'm completely humble, completely satisfied to an extent on our success. It's been remarkable. But backing off of that obsession and lowering my standards is where is probably, just like you said, that was a mistake that I made. And it takes getting into those rooms and getting your appetite wet. Like you said, the big rooms, the cheap tickets, you get in there, you go, okay, it's pretty good stuff. You can make $1 million out of those rooms, right? Mm-hmm. You can accomplish great levels of success. But what you do is realize, okay, I want to keep getting more. I got to keep getting more granular, getting smaller rooms, get more tactical, get more focused. And you know what? I want the guy in the room that's doing the driving. I want him to look in my eyes, straight to my soul, and hold me accountable, right? To that level of expertise. Because you know what? We've all done it. We get to the certain points like, we got a machine running. I can chill. Like I can back off now. Nope. When you do back off, we know, like the air leaves the balloon, the big blimp comes down, like you begin to, I guess, contract. You begin to contract in your business.
Another John Maxwell quote: "The law of intentional growth. If you are not keeping that foot down on the gas, if you are not intentionally growing, by default, you are going backwards."
Amen to that.
No, that's amazing. It's something that Shane has always said too. And I think as we started getting into different rooms and all three of us have without a doubt spent a massive amount of money on education, right? And on that, right? I have a stack, and it's a large stack of hotel key cards, right? And it's from all the different, right, events that I've gone to, all the different places I've went to, right? I have, a hook that's got, probably 300 lanyards on it with my name and all the different events, right? And it's part of it is just a reminder of like, hey, right, you've spent money to educate to get to another, to raise your game. And something that Shane's always said is like, is like looking around the room and being in some of those environments is like, man, there's different levels to this game.
Mm-hmm.
Right. There's a whole nother level, right, that some of these, business owners have achieved, that we're not even at yet. Right. And it's like they're showing you it's possible. Right. Not only are they showing you it's possible, but they're opening up their damn playbook. Right. And showing you how to get there. Right. In a true mastermind form of saying, hey, right, learn what I've learned. Right. And here's the way. Right. You don't have to spend the $100,000 of pain to get there. You just have to do the work. Right. And something that you've mentioned over and over again, do the work. Right. It's the simple stuff, that moves it. But so speaking on that line, what's the one thing or something that you wish somebody would have told you, right, when you were younger, getting into the biz and getting going on building your business with your mom? What's something that you wish somebody would have told you, or what's something that you would tell someone else that is just starting on that journey?
Get really humble. Get really humble really fast. Even now, it's why you're right, I really should reflect on the success more than I do. But that's something that is my biggest focus right now is balancing. I want to be attractive. I want agents to see that we are doing great things over here, because that attraction isn't for me, it is for them. I can impact them if they join me. I and our firm, Michelle and I can help them go. I was actually just before this call looking at agents who haven't sold anything this year, and they're just with some firms that they don't really offer much. There's not a lot of opportunity for them. I can give them what they need to stay in this business and make some money this year. So it's not about me, it is about them, but at the same time, I don't want to get so big-headed. I don't want to lose the humility, because I've made some of the worst mistakes I've ever made because I was not humble enough. I missed out on too many opportunities because I wasn't humble enough. And so if I could tell myself something at 23 years old, at 24, 25, I got successful in real estate pretty quick. That first year, I think I did 30 deals. And so, I got pretty confident in myself pretty quick, and wish I could go back and tell myself after year one, great job, but get humble, because that one thing is something that is more impactful to the direction your life will go than anything else that you can do, because it opens up more opportunities than anything else.
Yeah, and I've pushed myself just that with that same mindset for forever, as long as I can remember. And a few times in my life, I've had to listen to people go, you don't need to make that much money. You don't need to have that much success. Why can't you be happy with less? And every time that happens, my response to that is, how many people can you help if you broke? How many lives can you impact if you're broke? Okay. So let's say you're not broke. How many more lives can you impact with one more deal a year, one more deal a month, one more deal every few weeks? What can you do to make another person's life more impactful, a turn for the better? I've never met a philanthropist, I think I said that word right, that's broke, right? Most of them are the biggest givers. Ford, let me ask you this. So ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this or you're listening to this or download this, I guess I'm 51, so I guess I can say kid to someone that's 30 years old, but 33. I don't mean that, but what I do mean is this kid, this guy, this man, this entrepreneur is going places. He's been places. He's a mover and shaker. Like, if you listen to this podcast, you consume this podcast, connect with Ford Duncan, right? Connect with him. If you're in a surrounding market to him, and you're not, and you're with another brokerage or team, whatever, he's like the rest of us. He's brand agnostic. When you get to this level, you're brand agnostic. You're just trying to lean in and help other people, right? We help so many agents that are not affiliated with us. It's not about that. It's not about having to be under our roof. Lean into Ford, right? Pick his brain. The guy's brilliant. He's making moves. He's overcoming obstacles and hurdles at a rapid pace. If you have an obstacle or hurdle in your business and you're across the country, reach out to him. I'm going to send some of my agents to reach out to him, right? Ford, let me ask you this. Anyone that listens or watches this episode, how can they get in touch with you? What's the best way to get in touch with Ford Duncan?
Best way to get in touch with me is really Facebook. And most active on Facebook, and I promise I'm not posting a bunch of funny GIFs and memes, so if that's what you're looking for, you're not going to see it. But like you're saying, Shane, I post a lot of content that comes from the heart, that comes from experience on my Facebook. If you message me and you say, hey, I'd love to pick your brain, we'll sit down for 20 minutes, a half hour via Zoom. I'll send you a link. You can book time on my calendar. I'm happy to do that. I've got ebooks on time mastery. I've got scripts and dialogues. I'll let you zoom in on one of our trainings. If you're at a firm that doesn't offer training, we Zoom our trainings, live stream. I'll send you the link. I'm more than happy to help how I can, and Facebook's the best way to connect with me.
Folks, you heard it right here first. Ford's giving back. He's leaning in. He's providing value. He's leading with value. He's a humble servant. If you want to connect with him, Facebook is the place. We'll drop all the contact info in the episode notes and description there for everybody that picks this up at a later date and time. And in the meantime, if you found value in this episode and you would like to do us a big favor, please give us a 5-star review on this episode and our channel, our podcast. Please like and share it. And if you would like to be a guest, reach out to us. If you know someone that would like to be a guest, reach out to us. We're always trying to give back more than we take. And with that, Duane, take us out of here.
Well, I tell you what, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. Ford, it's been an absolute pleasure. Smash that subscribe. And for another episode of Real Estate Agent Life, this is Duane Murphy, Shane Kilby, and Ford Duncan saying peace out.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the R.E.A.L. podcast. Don't forget to connect with us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok for more exclusive content. Keep striving for success, and we'll see you in the next episode.